no secret. It's plain to see. I love you, and you love me. It's no secret. You know it's true. You love me. I love you. The only time we seem to meet is in the middle of the night. Only then can I feel your heartbeat. Till something's not right. Together I see you and me, always and all time. But not everyone would agree. To them it's a crime. It's no secret. It's plain to see. Yes, I love you, and you love me. And it's no secret. You know it's true. You love me. Yes, I love you.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Raw with Frankie J. I'm your host, Frankie J, and with me, as always, is the one and only, the one I love to hate and hate to love, T.O. Welcome, T.O. Welcome to the show. We got a really awesome guest today.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring this guest on here. You know, as a former little hockey player myself, I'm excited to learn how it's going now these days. You know, we're a little bit older. We're out of it a little bit, but it's nice to have these kids on, talk a little hockey.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to let everyone know right away that he was referred to us from a previous guest last season. We had the one and only Eric Hawk on 3 weeks in a row talking about his fitness schedule, his business of Western New York roller hockey, and spoke very highly of this young man, Henry McKinney. And Henry was able to free up enough time to spend a half hour with us tonight here on Raw. He's already up on stage, so I'm going to go ahead and invite Henry up onto video, and we're going to have just a conversation with him and see what his hockey life has been like and where it's going moving forward. Henry, welcome to Raw, and you are
Thank
live.
you.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking time out of your, I can't imagine, hectic schedule. And I'll say this, I watched the movie Miracle the other night, and just them doing those stupid sprints from red line back, blue line back, I was exhausted. So
Suicides.
is that what those are called?
We
Yeah,
used to call 'em that.
suicides.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Did you hate your coach when he'd have you do those, Henry?
Sometimes it's like it just doesn't feel necessary. But funny story. My coach in college, we had a volunteer assistant who actually coached with that 1980 U.S. Olympic coach, Herb Brooks.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if he coached with him at St. Cloud State, or I probably should know this. Kind of embarrassing. to be honest,
Minnesota?
but
Minnesota State?
yeah, it may have been. But no, he was. They coached together, so we definitely saw a few suicides in college. So,
Hey, I mean, they won the gold medal, so you got to
Yep,
somewhat give
yeah.
it some props. I guess it's
Yep,
for
that's right.
conditioning. But no, I watched that movie because there's times where I'm like, I need to be motivated, and I'll put a true story movie on, and I'll be like, man, that motivates me. So I guess playing hockey, we already know you're 25 years old. You're a senior at Nazareth College. Your ties to Western New York and the Roller Hockey League, we already kind of talked about, is that you have friends here that you can come play hockey with, roller hockey, that the closest roller rink is an hour from you, as far as roller hockey is concerned. So we discovered that's your tie to Western New York. What else what other ties with Western New York did you have in the past, like with hockey? Was there ever tournaments that you would have to come through Buffalo Harbor Center, things like that? Were there ever any big games that you were in that passed through the city of Buffalo?
Um, I'm not sure about through Buffalo because I grew up in Washington D.C. But when I was playing, I went to prep school to play hockey in Lake Placid, New York.
Which is
So
the 80 Olympics?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's another type. But I think we played like the Regals a couple times when I was there. We were out of Buffalo.
Yeah,
But
the Regals.
yeah, so that's kind of how I got over to Western New York, just because it's kind of close and the recruiting is easy, and yeah, so
That's awesome. What of your hockey? What level? And I asked this question to a lot of people that have played hockey in sports. What was that one like OCD thing that you have with hockey? For me, my equipment always had to be aired out a certain way, folded a certain way, put in the bag a certain way. One thing went on. What's your superstition when it comes to hockey? What has to be in place no matter what before a game?
yeah, that's a good question. I don't really think they're like superstitions, but just certain things like nutrition wise and like health wise, like it. I mean, obviously, it depends on the level of play. Like if I'm playing like uh, college or pro game, it's like, I mean, I have to have eaten well and be like hydrated, and then I warm up before the game, so like my hips are feeling good, so I can kind of get skating well. And I'd say those are the biggest things. Is kind of just like then I don't have to think that I'm not like worried about anything on the ice, or I don't like get tired and think like, oh, I should have like hydrated better or something like that. So not really superstitions, but kind of just preparation, I guess.
I remember back
Yeah.
when we used to play, and the goalies used to just slap the stick 100 times against the posts. You had the
Yeah.
guy that had to wrap his stick up left to right, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely still a ton of those guys who play. A couple guys on my college team as well. Nothing, I don't know. There's definitely guys with superstitions. I can't really remember, but definitely some guys with some more extreme preparation and routines than I have for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's more of a routine. Get yourself into the same routine over and over again.
yeah.
What was your routine, T.O.? You used to drink a 2 liter of Pepsi puke, and then he would drink Pepsi during the game.
That was
Yeah.
when I was older. Back when we were playing in high school and that, I don't know. I had my routines, but it wasn't as extreme as that. I did throw up a lot during games, though.
Why?
Yeah,
Why do you
I know
I
guys
don't know.
who've done that.
I don't know.
Is it nerves or is it just all the supplements that you took?
Probably just
illegally?
everything all coming together at once after that first shift, and you come on. I mean, I wasn't sick or anything, but you just throw up, and then you'd be right back out.
That leads to another good question, Henry. Was there ever that one person, and I'm certain that you've played certain people multiple times, be it in the same league or different leagues where you meet up. Is there ever that one person, that rivalry you have, no matter what? You don't even have to know each other, but you just have that. I had one when I played. That's why I asked it. I don't even know this kid, still don't. But every time I played him, I wanted to kill him. I don't know why. I just wanted to crush him. Is there anybody that you've ever played? And you don't have to say if you acted on it, but is there anybody you ever just wanted to just take him out because?
I don't know. Like, I would say definitely in college, you play the same teams over and over again. And I'd say the biggest rivalry is probably more of a team is playing against like Utica College. And it's funny enough, like two of those kids on that team are actually on my pro team now. We actually just lost them in the championship. They're a really good team, like a ton of Division I transfers. But yeah, I mean, like I think they had 14 seniors this year, so I saw the same kids for 4 years, and they always thought they were so good, and I didn't think they were that good. So I was kind of,
Awesome. So it got chippy.
yeah. I mean, like it's just competitive. It's like who's better. Like it's kind of bragging rights, all that noise. So yeah.
Tio, you have good stuff about that. This guy, Henry, let me tell you, he would be the guy that would skate circles around people. He was really good. And as he would skate by you, he would go, what was it? Yippee, yippee, or toasty, or
Whoopsie. We do the old one.
and he would get everybody enraged at him, but then he would skate to the bench and hide out, chug Pepsi while everyone else is in the fight.
I was very good at drawing penalties and walking away.
Yeah. Did you ever play with anybody like that you could count on to get things stirred up if you needed that boost?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's that I remember in like high school, my freshman year of high school, there's always one kid who'd like start a fight and just skate away. So it's that's so long ago, but that just sticks out. But I don't know if nothing else off the top of my head of someone who just kind of goes
Are there
and
still
skates
lots of
away.
fights in hockey? Because you see on TV, yeah, and
Yeah,
at
like
that level there is, yeah.
so like I just started playing here in the SPHL. So
SPHL.
that's the Southern Professional Hockey League, and
Okay.
there's in college you can't fight, but obviously in pro like you can fight, and definitely in this league there's a decent amount of fights. In my first game there was a really nice fight, and then obviously like the brawl is behind the net, but kind of small funny story here, like I was just like skating by the net like after a whistle, and like someone on the other team pushed me, and I'm like one of the younger guys in this league, and like I'm a little bit undersized, but try not to play like it. And this guy kind of pushed me, and I was like, whatever. I just thought nothing of it. And then one of the kind of like enforcers on our team skated right up to him and like grabbed him by the collar, and then like a bunch of guys rushed in. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. This guy's defending me. But I kind of felt like, oh shit, I kind of just started that, and I'm just off here to the side. But no, I didn't try to start anything on purpose. But yeah.
Now, when you say pro, can you ad lib on that a little bit? Like, do you get paid?
Yeah. So we all get paid, and I mean everything is free. Like all the gear, we have gear, sticks, all that. Like they give us apartments, so it's pretty nice actually. Like we're right here on the beach. It's like 500 yards away. So
And you're in North Carolina right now.
Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida playing. Okay.
Yeah. So no, but they give you apartments in this league. They give you apartments. You get paid, and then all the gear is free. So, it's a solid gig for sure.
Yeah, obviously with it being pro, you got to schedule, you got to stay to, you got to show up, and tell you
Yeah, exactly.
workouts. You're on
for
their
sure.
time, right? So
Yeah.
So it's not millions, but you're being taken care of to provide some pro hockey. And,
Exactly.
And now they can trade you. And then are they affiliated with any teams moving upwards to like the AHL or
So
leagues of
yeah,
that nature?
so it's I'm not sure if there's any direct affiliates with the team that we're on, but there's plenty of guys who've come from the AHL and kind of gone through all the ranks here. So yeah,
Who's a player? Have you played against anybody that's in the pros now? Have you
like in the National League
or yeah, anybody that you've played in the past in any league, college,
yeah.
who
I
made it to the
mean,
NHL?
there in the National League's different than like all the other pros, but there's a few kids who were on my prep school team who are and then actually a kid on Buffalo, Samuelson I was on his team for 2
Oh, yeah.
years
Yep.
at Northwood. Yeah, I mean he's been that size since he was like 12 years old. But no, obviously he's a really good player, like phenomenal player, and he's the only one who's in the National League right now that I play with. But there's a couple other draft picks who are in the AHL, and then a handful of kids over in Europe and the leagues over there, and then a few guys in North America and the East Coast and the SPHL like me. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you're in the mix. So
Yeah.
I always tell T.O., and I've told him this for years, you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening, you never know who's viewing film, who's looking for. I'm still a stickler on everybody's got their individual talent, their individual abilities to play a game. And some of them you can't teach, some of them you can. But when I played against T.O., he had that natural ability, just that one you can't teach. What have you been told in your short career so far? What is your one ability that people have always told you have, and to always work on that to excel? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean when I ask that question?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a good question because like they say
It's
like
loaded.
if you're gonna play in the NHL, you need to be good at everything and then like really good at like one thing
Most
or two.
things.
Yeah. No, it's like you're really good at everything and then like you're spectacular at like one thing in particular. So I'd say like my main strength is kind of like the way that I skate and kind of like maneuver the puck and kind of try to think the game. I like kind of a combination of those. Um, that's kind of my strength, and I try to rely on kind of my hands and my ability to think the play. So like when to kind of get nifty and when to just kind of chip a puck to an area and make a smart play. That's kind of I'd say where I kind of produce the most. Yeah, so I think I'm always trying to work on that, work on my hands, and work on. I'm always watching hockey, trying to see the game, think the game better. So yeah,
See the play before the play
I
happens.
told you that he was a head
yeah,
player,
yeah,
psychology major.
Yeah,
yeah,
psychology major. I'm a
yeah.
psychology major myself. I
Nice.
wanted to kind of ask you about that. Is psychology something from everything you've learned, and I've learned quite a bit of what you've learned. Do you use that? Is there a lot of that keeps you in a better frame of mind when you're in a locker room and you got a lot of egos and you got a lot of different people, excitement, whatever? Is that something you've learned in college to help you with your
Ye-
hockey career to keep
Yeah.
yourself balanced?
I mean, I kind of took it when I was a freshman just because I, to be honest, I figured it'd be easy.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
but to answer your question, now, like I do kind of value some of the principles, like not really like the ones out of the textbook and whatnot, if that makes sense. You kind of, but you kind of understand like the mental side of the game, and until you said like like what everyone else is thinking, and you kind of like there is that side of the game, and like I don't need to get into like the intricacies of it, but yeah,
Right,
like
right.
there is that side, and the better you are at that side of the game, whether it's like honing in your own mental skills or kind of understanding like the way other people are thinking, whether it's how they think the game or how they're thinking off the ice, it'll make you a better player or a better teammate. So
Yeah,
for
for
sure,
sure.
like it's a huge part of the game, definitely.
Good answer. I've been working with To a lot on the whole mental health thing. I'm starting to teach him kind of ground up and to
Yeah.
use index cards instead of talking. Sometimes it works here and there. But Tio, Tio had a couple of funny questions for you. Tio, why don't you go ahead and ask your
Well, I
questions?
didn't, not so much funny question. I was just interested as like when you were a kid, what was your favorite team and what team did you always want to play for as a
Good
kid
question.
if you
Yeah.
could have?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the Caps. Like I grew up in Washington D.C. and
Yeah,
I
Ovechkin.
mean, yeah, I was always like a kind of a Nick Backstrom fan. Like that,
Okay.
Backstrom, yeah.
if there's any player who I've always, like emulated growing up, it's been him. Like just these soft, small, little nifty plays that aren't too
Yeah.
fancy, but kind of little small area plays. But no, like that's. I mean, I grew up in Washington D.C., so
Right, right.
and they've grown that organization so much. Like since with George McPhee, he was the GM when I was younger, and bringing in Ovechkin, and like there's not really hockey in the South. I mean, it's growing now, but when I was growing up, it really wasn't present at all. And
No, it wasn't.
to see where it's come now, like I mean, that's always
Definitely.
that always is kind of a place I've wanted to play. So I was younger, and yeah, so
No, that's
yeah,
pretty cool. That's a good
yeah,
story because you're right. Hockey wasn't around. I mean, geez, Tio, it was in the '90s when they brought hockey to Carolina, wasn't it? They
Yeah.
brought the Carolina Hurricanes, wasn't it, in the '90s, and then they expanded out to what, Tampa Bay and
Yeah,
Florida.
Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point. We see we're older. I mean,
We still remember the
right?
Nordiques.
yeah,
Oh, jeez, the
That
Quebec
was my favorite
Nordiques.
all-time jersey, I think.
yeah. It's
I
pretty
really
sweet,
like that one. Yeah.
pretty sweet
The
unis they got.
Yeah, the Quebec Nordiques. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite uniform that you saved that like this is my favorite one so far
From
out
like
of all
teams
the
I've
shirts?
played on, or
Yeah, do you get to keep them first of all,
it depends on the team, but I mean
unless they're cheap or not? Though.
the jerseys, like sometimes, I mean it all depends on like when you're younger, you're kind of buying your own jerseys, but as you get older, like they're kind of the club's jerseys. Um,
Ah,
but I mean I've kept a decent amount. I mean I really liked my uniforms in college. I thought like our black ones were really cool. They were just nice and sleek, and then the uniforms here at my team in Pensacola, they're really nice. I mean, seems like these minor league teams have a new jersey, like
Every
a new
single-
like every other week for some event, like a Star Wars jersey or like a local sponsor jersey or a jersey supporting like a good cause. But yeah, I mean, some of the jerseys down here are actually like really cool, especially some of the event jerseys. So
Well, it's I always wondered if you were allowed to keep them or did they charge for them? Because there's always these rumors, like in the NFL football, they get charged for their equipment. They got to buy their own helmets, and I'm always
really,
often wondered that, like, do they really have to buy their own stuff?
huh.
And if they're a pro, why they got to buy? Isn't that part like privilege? But I
Yeah.
guess it depends on the team and the ownership and if they got deep pockets or not. See, if Todd was if To was a team owner, he would make everybody buy everything. That's just how he is
up front.
up front.
It's funny.
Non-contractual. Me, I would.
Yeah, we've ran too many roller leagues to know that they're not going to come back and pay you later.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
want it up
I'll pay the
front.
ref fee next week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was that guy. My wallet's in my car. I'm like, dude, your
No,
wallet's in your
that's
car.
not
Just go out and
true.
get it. I made you skate out one time. On your
I
word
got
voice. I said, go out and get the money, and then we
That's
played.
funny.
But yeah, well, you know how it is. You get a group of guys they all want to play, and then they get in the locker room, and you go around and you have to pay the referees in roller hockey. You have to pay them,
Yep.
and I'll get you next week, or I don't have enough, or one person pays 20, and it's a hot mess, and
Yeah.
nobody ever wants to pay. And To, he's guilty of that. So I'm calling you out, To. You still owe ref fees from like 20 years ago.
1994.
Yeah, he keeps track. But
Wow.
is so right now you're in Florida. What's your plans after Florida? Are you going to stick there, or you got plans to move around and try to expand on your pro league? I know we talked earlier that obviously the draft period has passed by you, but it's not to say that you can't play pro hockey on a higher level. What are your plans? Where do you see yourself going in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of getting my Italian citizenship, which would help
Okay.
me get a European Union passport, and then make it a lot easier to play in some of the higher up leagues in Europe.
Sweet.
So that's kind of something that's always been on my mind. And then I guess for next year, it'd be ideal to start in the East Coast League. So I think a lot of those teams are like affiliated with NHL teams. So that's kind of, I mean, it's one league up from this. Pays a little better. It's a little more, plays a little faster. Everything's a little bit more professional. And not to say that where I'm at is not, but like that's kind of the goal as a competitive athlete is you want to take a step. So that's where I'd like to start next year.
Sweet.
But for now, like you being like a pro, you can't think too far ahead. Like you just have to execute one day after the next, and then string a bunch of days and games together. And that's how a resume and a career is made. So yeah.
Definitely build up your resume, and that was actually another question I had. Are you contractually forbidden to send out film and stuff to other teams? Are you allowed to self promote yourself, or is there like a contractual line saying that you are not to promote yourself?
I don't know. I kind of walked in and he's like, "Congrats, sign this line here," and I was like, "All right."
Okay. Fair enough.
No, but
I
no,
guess they
I
put
don't.
here.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing. And most teams in college and pro use like a stat database called Instat, and it has like
Oh,
every little stat about you. Like it's got a heat map. It's got all your face-off win percentage. Like anything you can think of, it's got it on there. So if
so if a team wants a centerman that can win faceoffs right-handed and he weighs, they can plug that in. And you'll come up on the list.
That's amazing.
pretty much, yeah, they can.
Huh.
And if they're thinking about picking you up, they'll search your name in the database and look at your film in a second. So that's
I got a
yeah,
question.
that's how that stuff works. So
What's the main difference between hockey here in the States and hockey like abroad in Europe?
It's a great question. In abroad, they use Olympic size rinks. So I think, are they wider?
They're
think
wider
they're-
and longer.
and they're longer.
Are they both? Okay,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
annoying.
So
I used to hate playing on those big rings.
yeah, so obviously like more space with the puck, and then not only the rink, but that like changes the way that like they develop hockey over there. it's a lot more skating and possession, like soccer. So they shoot the puck way less. I've heard. I heard it's just like you pass and you pass and you pass, kind of like roller hockey, actually, just like a ton of possession, and you don't want to give up possession unless it's like a grade A opportunity, because if you do, you might not get the puck back.
So kind of like overtimes have become here.
Kind of, yeah.
In the NHL.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's not as much as that, because that's obviously 3-on-3, but that's yeah, it's kind of the idea. It's all about possession over there, even more so than it is here. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Olympics. You watch the Olympics, and it's like it seems like the rink is so huge. It takes forever for the puck to even get across, and then you get on an NHL size rink, and you feel like you're closed in and claustrophobic almost.
Yeah.
So I played on both kinds,
right.
and I don't like the big rinks. I even think the ice is harder for some reason. You know, like no, there's different surfaces, and I'm sure Henry will testify. There's surfaces that are on sand, and then there's some that are on concrete, and it's a difference. It's like softer if you play on the sand ice.
I don't really know what's under the ice, but I'm sure that I do know, like, the temperature makes a big difference. Like, it's been humid here in Florida ってand the ice in our rink has been it's been something else, to say the least. It's been
like
warm,
chipping apart and slushy and garbage.
It's been pretty slushy, yeah. So, but I mean, I can't complain. It's a great place to play. So
you're playing pro hockey, man. Good for you. And thanks for taking some time to join us here today. We didn't have much time. We do a short half-hour show here, but Henry, it's been a pleasure learning a little bit about you and your connections here to Western New York. I want to thank Eric Hawk for bringing you to us. It's been a fun time, and
Frankie.
Yo, what do you got?
Since he knows Eric, I just want to.
We got to show you the jersey.
This was Eric and I's first jersey, Pizza Cravings.
Wow!
And a quick story that you can tell him.
That's awesome.
A roller hockey goalie. He'll remember this, but you can tell him this.
Yeah.
A roller hockey goalie used to wear bowling shoes.
No way.
It's insane. After the game, his feet were so bad. He couldn't take his shoe off. I just can't wait till Eric hears that, because he'll remember that. It's been a long time.
That's funny. We'll be waiting for a signed jersey from you in the mail too. We want to hang it up in the studio. So when you do get to that league, because I have faith, I believe in people that believe in themselves. When you get there, we'll be there for your first big game. You'll be able to wave to us and be like, "That was the first radio show, or first live show I was interviewed on." Is it the first show you've been on?
Yeah, I think it's the first
there you go.
live show. Sweet. So there you go. Yeah.
Yes, we closed the deal, Tio. Well, Henry, listen, thanks for hanging out with us. We're just about out of time here. Everybody out in the crowd, here in the audience, worldwide, and everywhere else you can see us. Thanks for being here, Henry. Good luck to you. We're going to follow up with you here and there and see what you're up to next, and we'll have you on again definitely in the future. But everybody that's been here, thanks for being here. Tio and I will be back next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time with another episode of Raw.